Welcome to one of my monthly astrological forecast videos, and today we're going to talk about the full moon in Gemini and what that means. This is relevant material for you, either if you have the sun in Gemini, the moon, the ascendant, or any other planets, then I'm pretty sure you will find valuable information here, how you can bring those qualities on the highest level of expression. And then it also is a general forecast which enables you to meet those more emotional, unconscious forces symbolized by the moon for the coming months. So my intention is to teach you and share my passion about astrology. I've been doing that for 35 years. And yeah, I hope you will enjoy. I meet you over at my PowerPoint presentation. Welcome over here. I'm using a PowerPoint presentation format so I can stay fairly organized in presenting the material about the lunar astrology. Today we will be talking about the full moon and Gemini astrology in particular. The full moon in Gemini is happening December 16th or 17th, depending where you are on the planet. And Gemini is describing the archetype and the personality, the underlying matrix we're going to be susceptible to emotionally, because this is what the moon describes. And I would like you to hang in there till the end, because we will get to the very practical suggestions more towards the end, and how you can use those Gemini energies, how you can ride the Gemini wave. Here a little information about me. My name is Shakti. I'm what we call an evolutionary astrologer. So I use the astrological perspective to look at the karmic connection to not only who you are as lifetimes and with your potentials and challenges, but also why you are that person. So this is a very meaningful soul perspective. And it has added a lot of depth to my own perception of astrology. I am a published author, and I'm very passionate about astrology. After all those years I have been doing it, and I like to inspire you with the material. And I really would like to hear back from you, because sometimes it's hard to kind of speak into this empty space. So please get back to me. Tell me what you like, what you want me to focus on more. So we have some kind of dialogue here. I would really, really appreciate that. Okay, let's move on. So the full moon in Gemini happening 16th or 17th of December at 1:28 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So this is why it might shift depending on where you are on the planet. And it will happen at 26° Gemini. I give you the degrees because it will impact you much stronger if you have any planets or the ascendant around that 26° Gemini. So you want to keep that in mind. So you might ask yourself, why even bother with the moon and lunar astrology? First of all, the moon cycle is so connected to our perception. So, and we do know and we have experience with the impact the moon, especially the full moon, can have. So the tides are rising, the cat's going crazy out there, we might not be able to sleep as well. So there's some very obvious manifestations of the different moon positions. So one wonderful thing I perceive in having an eye on the moon, where it is in its cycle, waxing, full moon, waning, is that to be aware of that cycle, we can become more self-conscious and especially emotional, aligned with our inner worlds of feeling. And I always like to say there is a form of emotional intelligence that can evolve out of that, just from that kind of focus point, that kind of holding the perspective and the awareness of what's going on inside of me, and reflect about that. And of course, in astrology, everything we experience gets filtered through all these different inner aspects represented by the planets. So the moon in your chart describes your inner mood and your needs and how you emotionally filter the world. So in the chart, the moon is representing your heart, your soul, your emotional filter, your driving need. And ultimately, it's a source of joy and happiness. So here you can imagine that it really helps to know what's going on with the moon up there and how that relates back to who you are and specifically your birth chart. What happens with a full moon? Astrologically, we answer that question that we say the sun and the moon are in opposition with each other, 180 degrees apart. And because of that position, the sun can shine fully onto the moon. So the moon reflects back the light of consciousness. So the full moon is not really an entity like Jupiter or Saturn or Venus on its own, because it's so fast. So it's just describing a specific phase in the cycle. So the full moon, we could say, is the pinnacle of the cycle of emotional maturation that started with the new moon, but we can really see here the interaction and dependency of moon and sun. And the interesting thing is, from the earthly perspective, both planets are kind of the same size. So this is why we are able to have eclipses. So there's a dance between the sun representing the highest gravity and consciousness in our solar system, and the moon reflecting the energies of that consciousness. For me, the full moon means a time of emotional fullness and overflowing receptivity for emotional impact from outside into our inner system. So ultimately, that means it's a time to become more self-conscious and self-aware and self-realized. And then it's helpful to become more aware that each full moon is carrying a different quality, a different matrix for what specific kind of emotions and contents will arise. So this full moon is in Gemini, so is defined by the sign of Gemini and how it will show up in its specifics. Today I want to take you onto this journey into the mysteries of Gemini. The Gemini archetype shows us two people known as the twins, known as having one leg in the heavens and one on the earth. So there is this kind of dual nature we associate with the Gemini archetype. Gemini is the first one of the air signs. The second one is Libra, the third one is Aquarius. And as the first sign, Gemini starts that journey of the mind, of the thirst for knowledge and experience. So it's a starting point of setting out into the world to gather all these different experiences and incidents and knowledge. The sign of Gemini, the Gemini personality, is ruled by the god Mercury. So Mercury is known as the archetype of the teacher, the storyteller, and of course the communicator. We also look at the Gemini as one who is able to witness life. So the witness or the student. And when the cup is full and the student has learned, then there is a natural overflow, and then the student becomes a teacher. And then we have the butterfly as a beautiful symbol for the Gemini personality. The butterfly who flies from flower to flower and enjoys each one of them. Or the scientist as the one who postulates a thesis and then tries to prove it or disprove it. So it's a very neutral starting point to discover the world. These are all ways of the Gemini to go about things. So what's underlying all those archetypes is the idea of learning about life through a multitude of experiences. So it's all about sharpening the intellect, the mind, the really using all the facilities of the mind. And we're all far away from really using a lot of our brain. I mean, we know that people use 5 to 10% of our brain power. So you wonder what else is there potentially for us to use. So with Gemini, there is a constant wanting to learn, wanting to have those mind-altering, enhancing experiences. And to be on that kind of Gemini journey, you constantly have to adjust your reality. And that means you constantly perceive a different kind of truth, a constantly changing truth. So for Geminis, usually it's very apparent that there is no objective, big truth for everybody. There's only this kind of subjective moment of truth wherever you are in your journey. And Geminis are usually very open to take the next step into another level of the truth. Because of that, we know Gemini to be eternally curious, but also restless. There is an outgoing quality to the Gemini person. But it's also the ability to listen. So it's not just talking, finding your voice, it's also listening, because listening is part of taking in information, taking in the world through your senses. So basically the highest quality of a Gemini personality is to have a wide open mind, to process the world around you through all of your senses. And of course, like all signs of the zodiac, each sign has a shadow. So Gemini shadow is the tendency to be living up in the head, living from the neck up. So just being very identified with thoughts, with ideas, and the ability to be endlessly distracted by new information coming in. So the danger in that is to kind of flitting through life like you might flitting through the channels on your TV, or spending a lot of time on your computer, flitting from website to website. So there's a sense of spaciness, of non-focus if we go into the shadow material of Gemini. And this brings me to the deeply evolutionary perspective and goal for Gemini, which is to truly learn to appreciate life's diversity with an open mind. And a second aspect of that is that if you have any planets in Gemini, part of that subject, that lesson plan you signed up for in this lifetime is that part which is in Gemini needs to be finding its own voice. So I know many of us have blockages in our throat chakra because we weren't allowed, or we weren't even endangering our life in past lives when we had a critical voice. So we have a lot of blockages around really expressing our truth. So if we have any planets in Gemini, this is what we're here to learn, to find our own strengths in expressing our voice. That can be as a storyteller, a teacher, a singer. There are many, many ways to do that. Now that I have been describing a lot of the Gemini qualities and pitfalls, now I want to come to how you can write those qualities on high-level manifestations and expressions. So this is what I call how to write the wave with the matrix of the sign. So here for Gemini, that means it's, especially with the full moon in Gemini, it's a time where we need extra stimulation. It's a time where it does us good to allow some sense of novelty, new things into our life. So the element of surprise, it's what we're looking for. So, and of course, we need to be open for that, to invite it into our life. Now I want to get to how you can use those principles, those frequency fields we are opposed to when the sun moves into Sagittarius. And of course, it will be even stronger if we have planets in Sagittarius. But we all will have those forces to contend with. So I would like you to ask yourself the question, how have you underestimated yourself? This is a Sagittarian question. So in which area of your life do you need to therefore grow? Where do you need to push your limitations? Where do you need to push the envelope, so to speak? So this is the perspective of Sagittarius. The arrow shooting out of the known, shooting far ahead into unlimited possibilities. In order to do that, you need to keep your gaze inwards and take a deep look into your dreams, your visions of life, and what would give you a sense of fulfillment. So in order to do that inner work, that inner vision work, I found it very helpful to do that with journaling, and or just sitting down and contemplate and then journal. So either way, it's a nice way to tap into that inner dimension. Also, we're deepening the idea of rethinking what it takes to stay healthy. And we have talked about some of that last month with the Scorpio energies. But this month we look at it in a little bit different way. Looking at the potential weak points in Gemini would mean looking at the lungs, any problems with the lungs, arms, legs, feet, hands, fingers, problem with breathing connected with the lungs, but also stuttering, for example. Therefore, it is a great month for doing very specific healing work. In general, I would say oxygenation is helpful for many levels, organs in your body, and to get more oxygen in your body. The oldest method known to mankind is breathing exercises, to consciously take in all the oxygen through conscious breathing. So yogic breathing is one of the oldest methods to have you do that. I just read an interesting book called The 1 Minute Miracle, I think. It talks about oxygenation through hydroxy peroxide. And I'm actually very excited and interested in that. So I'm going to try that out for myself. So, but this is kind of the headline, the subject, the area where you can really be very successful this month in healing and supporting your system. Then when we look at other ways how to use a Gemini frequency matrix represented through the full moon in Gemini this month. So if you would like to become a better speaker, really open up your throat chakra. You could deepen your skills as a speaker. For example, you could visit your local Toastmaster group. I did that for a year, and it's really a very supportive environment for learning how to speak publicly, for learning to be on the stage and make a point in what you have to offer. Or you could take singing lessons, learn how to take in the air and let it flow out through your voice, your very unique voice. So it might not have the material to win the X Factor or the voice, but it might go a long way towards giving you a wonderful time in tapping into that unused creative potential of self-expression. And this is what it is all about. Also, as a gemstone expert, you know, I've been a jeweler for almost as many years as I've been an astrologer. So the Herkimer Diamond is a wonderful, wonderful stone. One of the stones for Gemini. And it's not a diamond, it's a crystal. A crystal found in the state of New York, Herkimer. And it's called Herkimer Diamond because it's the only natural growing crystal which can have this high quality of brilliance and light qualities. But it's more than that. It kind of crystallizes into these two ends. And we have a plus and a minus end on this double terminated crystal with not much of a belly between the plus and the minus. So what that means, it brings and balances out the opposing forces. So Herkimer Diamond is such a very special stone because if you have a kind of a pendant or you wear it on top of your heart, which is a middle chakra between the three upper and the three lower chakras, then it is a stone which can be extremely balancing of your personal energy system. And because of that, it will help you to stabilize your personal frequency field against intruding energies, which we are surrounded by all the time, especially sitting in front of the computer and all those frequencies we are exposed to these days. So Herkimer Diamond is a wonderful stone just to admire for its beauty and the natural beauty created by the alchemy of the earth. So I will give you a deeper insight into Herkimer Diamond down the road in a few days or so. So keep your eyes open for a video about that where I go more in depth what those metaphysical healing qualities of the Herkimer are. Then another video and event coming up is the Sun moving into Capricorn, December 21st. And this is one of the four cornerstones of the year's evolution. And it's what we call the winter solstice. So this is a very important kind of turning point and a specific point in consciousness. So I will talk about that in the video about the Sun in Capricorn. I'm always in favor for enjoying the journey, not just the end point of the goal you're heading towards. So this month it's enjoying the energies of Gemini, the curiosity, the liveliness of Gemini, and just expanding your horizon in a beautiful way. So I hope you will enjoy the ride. If you haven't done so yet, now it's a good time to sign up for your subscription so you will be kept informed whenever I have a new forecast video ready and up. So please subscribe if you like my work. You can also go to my website, mauiastrologyreading.com, to sign up for my newsletter, which will also give you a free report for your love stone based on your birth chart. So if you love gemstones, why don't you do that? And of course, if you liked the material I presented, please like me. Again, this is how you can reach me. I'm living in Hawaii, so my phone number is 808-878-8182. Or you can go to my website, mauiastrologyreading.com. So if you're interested in a personal reading, that's how you can reach me. I have been doing astrology for 35 years, so I have a lot of experience, and I really, really love to do this work because I see again and again how much of a difference it can make in somebody's life to have that kind of high wisdom and evolutionary perspective. So call me and we can do our reading through Skype online, and you can come visit me here on Maui. So as we say here, aloha and thank you for visiting, and I see you soon.